most of the creation have never ever denied that there is a supreme creator. There were maybe times, and maybe certain places or maybe certain times where there was a minority of people who maybe denied, maybe they believed there was a God of evil and a God of good, or a God who creates light and a God who creates the fire. And maybe in the contemporary times where we see that atheism, becoming more and more popular because of certain theories that they claim through science. But generally speaking, we see that most of mankind, overwhelmingly, even today, never ever disputed that that there is a Lord and that He is unique in these actions, in creating, in providing, sustaining, giving life, taking life. No one really disputed that. So therefore, this part of Tawheed, even though we see in the Quran Allah mentioning affairs which are connected to it, that He gives life and takes life and so on and so forth, this was never ever disputed. And so this shows that the prophets never came to establish this particular Tawheed. They never came to call the people to this particular Tawheed. This is because it is already established in the people's Fitrah. This is because we as Muslims believe in the Fitrah. That every individual has an innate ability, and they have this intuition, meaning the ability to recognize something as being true. To give you some examples, as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he gives some examples from them. So this Fitrah is something that Allah created mankind upon. So anyone who is born and his Fitrah is left intact, then he will be able to recognize certain things as being universally true. To give an example, Ibn Taymiyyah often says, rahimahullah, that it is established in the Fitrah of every person that which is muhdath, something which is muhdath, meaning brought about, originated, must have a muhdith, one who brought it into being or into existence. This is something that no one will ever dispute. This is like, for example, if you whether you live in the 21st century, whether you live in the 7th century BC, whether you live in the Amazon jungle 4,000 years ago, whether you live 500 years from now, if Allah wills, somewhere in the North Pole, whatever, every single individual, if he finds an object, or if he finds something, let's say he finds a mobile phone, for example, or he finds a book, for example, in the reasoning of every single individual, he must conclude that this thing is muhdath, and there must be a muhdith somewhere. There must be an originator for it somewhere. This reasoning is something that emanates from the fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in every single individual. And even you will see, even the greatest of like atheists in the present time, you will see that when they speak, their fitrah, you see the fitrah coming out in their speech. To give you an example, one of these people is Richard Dawkins, and he is basically on a religious mission to spread atheism everywhere. Right? So from his statements, there are many statements he has, but from them he says that biology is the study of nature, things in nature, which appear to be designed. So you can see that on the one hand, the fitrah is coming out, but on the other hand, the arrogance is trying to drown that fitrah. So he acknowledges, because obviously he believes that all of the creation, the living things, they came about through blind, random chance, through the laws of nature, right? But he can't deny that there's clearly a very sophisticated element of design within living things. When you go in and you look into DNA and everything else, it is absolutely astounding the degree of precision and information and sophistication which is there. So he can't deny that. He says, clearly there are things in that are designed. But if you look at the way they try to put it across, that they say it appears to be designed. And what he's trying to say, although it appears to be designed, it is just come through random, blind, undirected forces that just somehow produced all living things, or all life from non-life. So the point being that even amongst the atheists, they will acknowledge, you will see the fitrah coming out, being expressed, but at the same time you will see the arrogance, the kibr, and other things trying to drown, that fitrah. So this is one example. Another example is if no matter which person it is, even an atheist, even a person of any other religion, it's universal for the whole of mankind. If a man came along and you saw the child, and he just killed the child for no reason, or he beat the child for no reason, then in every single person with sound fitrah, the idea of injustice will immediately come to his mind. He will know that this is definitely unjust. And it doesn't matter where he lives, which nation he lives, which civilization he lives, or what time or whatever, the sense of justice will arise in his mind, and he will know and he will judge that this is wrong. So that's also from the fitrah. These are things from the fitrah. So coming back to the issue then, Allah has created every single individual upon this fitrah, and so the issue of recognizing that there is a creator and a Lord who is behind the creation of the universe, that this is a natural, it's something that follows on without any obstacles. This is why that in the Quran, Allah mentions about the messengers in Surah Ibrahim, at the beginning of Surah Ibrahim, وَقَالَتْ رُسُلُهُمْ أَفِي اللَّهِ شَكٌّ فَاتِرِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. So Allah says about the messengers that when the messengers came, they said to the people, is there any doubt concerning Allah, the originator of the heavens and the earth? And this also shows, as the scholars explain, that when the prophets came to call the people, they never came to call initially through reason, through aql. They came to call through fitrah, because the fitrah is the asl, is the foundation of our belief, not the aql, not reasoning. So that's why in the Quran we see that there is a certain method and a certain way in which Allah proves His existence, which is different to all the other long-winded, philosophical, logical, all those kind of methods. In the Quran, it's very simple, and it draws upon a person's fitrah. So in the Quran, it is upon that principle that the muhdath must have a muhdith. That something which is originated must have an originator. So therefore in the Quran, Allah says to us, look at the sun, the moon, the stars, the alternation of the night and the day. Look at the animals you ride upon, that you seek benefit from, in which you find food and transport and clothing. And likewise, look at so in this manner, Allah points to all these different phenomena, and you see that here, when Allah encourages people to look and to reflect, this isn't something that only a small number of elite people, sitting there in the scientific labs, that only they can do. Rather, it is something Allah has mentioned these things because they're open to every single individual to look. So in other words, faith isn't restricted just to people who can study and scientifically. Right? This is not how Allah has, or who know philosophy or logic or science. Rather, this is for the whole of mankind. For that reason, Allah draws attention to things which everybody can see. Right? So therefore, there is no excuse for anybody. No person, no matter how intelligent he is or how unintelligent he is, because as we said, the asl isn't the aql. The asl is the fitrah of a person. So therefore we see Allah has mentioned things which every single person can see, the night and the day, the moon, the stars, the sun, and the lightning, the thunder, the rain, the earth being revived after death, and the phenomenon of the winds and everything. All these things everybody sees and experiences every single day. And for that reason, it shows that no one has an excuse. No one has an excuse. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the messengers came, they invited the people by way of the fitrah first and foremost. Right? Because when a person recognizes that there is an originator, then naturally following on from that belief is that the originator has the right to be worshipped alone. And this is the covenant that Allah took from every single soul. Because in the Quran, in Surah Al-A'raf, Surah 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that when He created Adam, then He took from the back of Adam every single soul. And then He made it testify. He said, "Am I not your Lord?" And they all said yes. And they all said yes. So therefore, the soul which Allah sends and puts in every single body, it has already acknowledged that Allah is its Lord. And so here we see the connection here between the Fitrah, and so we see that the Fitrah works, and it leads a person to acknowledge that only Allah has the right to be worshipped alone, because the Fitrah also has been endued with this ability to recognize this truth, that anything which is originated must have an originator. But now, sometimes the Fitrah can become corrupt. The Fitrah can become corrupted. And so when the Fitrah becomes corrupt, we see the messengers, they bring the rational proofs as well. This is now the aql, the rational proofs. So the messengers, they come and they also bring rational proofs. So we see when we look in the Quran, we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned many rational proofs, many proofs that appeal to the reason, to the reason. And from them is what Allah says in the Quran, "Am khuliqu min ghayri shay'in am humul khaliqun." Were they created by nothing or from nothing, or are they the creators? And so this is like a type of reasoning which we see amongst other verses, but this is the main one in the Quran, that were they created by nothing, or were they themselves the creators? And so again, we won't go into on a diversion now onto that subject, but just to make the point that we're making here is that this issue of Tawheed ar-Rububiyyah, acknowledging that Allah is unique, that He exists, and then He's unique in His actions, and no one really disputed this in history, and it is something that the Fitrah gives evidence to. It is also something that the aql gives evidence to, and so therefore we see that Allah sent also the messengers, and by way of all of these things, the proof is established upon mankind. The proof upon the whole of mankind is established. It can be established by Fitrah, by aql, and then Allah also sent the naql, which is the revelation, and Allah never punishes up until after sending the naql, meaning the revelation. So Allah sends the revelation, and punishment only befalls after the revelation has been sent and the hujjah has been established by way of the naql, the revelation.